remember about a year and a half ago, in April, I think, of 2010, I had asked the society if they would object to my providing information to a writer in New York who wrote columns for the New York Daily News on crime. And they agreed, yes, that they should do that. Well, I sent him 3 things. One was on the Dr. Marwick and his exploits, although he really wasn't the vagabond everybody thought he was. The second was this Mary Kindershot, and I made a presentation of that particular series of events when we had our meeting at City Hall. The third involved the Alice Martin murder, which took place in 1934. And I saw him then the following winter, and he said his editor only wanted him to do stories about New York. Then in August, I got an email from him, and he said that his editor now would allow him to do stories from other areas, and he was going to publish the Alice Martin murder story in the New York Daily News. And it appeared on Sunday, August 28th, and the headline was, Queen of Trapeze star known for aerial striptease act murdered for $2.75.
That's true.
And I didn't remember sending him some of this stuff. The article is not actually that long for what material I did. But Alice Martin was born in Derby in 1881, and she was a very small, petite person and enjoyed athletics, acrobatics. She wanted to play basketball, enjoyed, gym and those kind of things. And so she left Derby and went to work in Philadelphia. And there she met a man who had an act, and I'll pass this top page around, and you can see the sketch that was drawn at the time that of her murder, where a man would actually wear a harness, and on the front he had 2 long poles that went up in the air and had like a step ladder up, and he would hold those, balancing them, and she would do a trapeze act up on top of them. So it was quite a feat. And they toured vaudeville houses coast to coast as a second billing act, novelty act, including a long run in 1905 at the opening of the New York Hippodrome, the colorful playhouse of 6th Avenue and 43rd Street. And about this time, she was making the phenomenal sum of $400 a week, which is
a lot of money.
But competition was ruthless in vaudeville at that time, and Martin was forced to tweak her act as a brawny California woman who performed as a champion, added striptease to her trapeze stunts. So Martin added burlesque twist. She stripped to her knickers while hanging by her teeth, dental doffing becoming her signature. In 1908, a Canadian newspaper noted her act included a number of nude and the difficult gymnastic feats, one being her disrobing down to a suit of tights and holding on to the strap by her teeth. Stop that, you can start passing it around.
Hope she had good teeth.
Her father died in early 1929, and she, being the only survivor, had to return back to Derby to settle the estate. She really wanted to settle it quickly and return to the east, but the stock market crash depleted all value of property, and so she was stuck in Derby. In 1933, she hired a man by the name of Ernest Wright to help with the fall chores. One day he ran away into a ravine, and Martin withheld $2.75 from his pay to cover the repairs, and Wright stormed off. Still stewing, he returned to the farm January 14, 1934 to demand compensation. he confronted Alice Martin at 10 p.m. as she left the barn. She told him, "Get the hell off of here or I'll shoot you." White replied by walloping the little woman with a club. He then slit her throat, buried her in a shallow grave that he obscured with a cartload of manure. Wright took up the residence of the house, explaining to suspicious visitors that he had bought the house from Martin, who had gone back to New Jersey. When she was in New York, she lived in Paterson, New Jersey. But he was arrested after a search party unearthed Martin's body from the manure pile. He had knocked holes in the floors, ceilings, and walls, seeking the concealed fortune that they thought she had, but that did not exist. About all he found was a trunk filled with Martin's vaudeville mementos. In one yelling news clipping, she said show business had introduced her to life beyond her father's fields. So she really wanted to be away from Derby. "It gives me a chance to travel and see the world in a way I could not get in any other business," she said. As it happened, she was safer in the wider world than on the farm. According to a document from Christine Manlett of the Tell City Indiana Historical Society, and I know I did not tell him that, the coroner noted one physical souvenir from her high-flying life. Her teeth were in awful shape. Wright confessed, then recanted during wisecracking testimony. He pinned the murder on a stranger passing through. The local Perry County News said his smartness in replying to the attorneys did not aid him any. The jury convicted Wright of the murder in just 17 minutes. Spared the death sentence, he was sent away for a life term in the state prison. He died there in 1962 at the age of 60 after paying 28 years for killing over $2.06. Now that basically is, of the 10 or 12 pages I sent, that's basically what ended up in the newspaper. I have a link, which is rather lengthy, if anybody wants to go online to view it, which is how I got this thing offered. Any questions about it? Yes?
Do you know he's buried out here at Lilydale?
Yes, he is buried at the Lilydale because that's the pauper cemetery in the county. And they had when he died, he had no family, no relatives to bury him at all. And so he's buried there. She is buried at the Cumming Cemetery, I believe, up around Derby someplace, along with her parents.
Got a picture of him.
Okay. Anything else? Well, that's the